Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to recap and explain an Italian horror movie called The Binding. But first, please subscribe to my channel. The film begins with the ritual where we see a few people trying to control a possessed lady. They forced her to drink something and showed her face in the mirror. The lady started screaming when she saw her face in the mirror. The mirror got cracked. Now we come to know the meaning of this film's title, The Binding. A binding is a type of supernatural bond between an evil entity and its victim. Whenever someone gets possessed by such a bond, he starts to lose his mind and his physical body starts to alter. In Italy, it's called the evil eye. It is more prominent in the south of Italy. I will explain a few interesting things about this at the end of this video, so please watch the video till the end. Now we see three guys: Francesco, Emma, and Sofia. These three were traveling to Francisco's ancestral village where his mom was living. Francisco and Emma were in a relationship, they were getting married soon. Francisco was taking Emma to meet his mom for the first time. Sofia was the daughter of Emma who married years ago. But she got divorced. This was her second marriage. Sofia loved Francisco as her real dad and Francisca loved her like a daughter. In short, this was an official happy family. Here Francisco was a musician and Emma was a civil engineer. These guys used to live outside of Italy. Francisco was meeting her mom for the first time after many years. Francisco's mom had a huge ancestral olive tree plantation. She was taking care of it. When these three arrived at the house, Sabrina, the cook and caretaker of the house, welcomed them. Sofia liked the house dog, Tito. They quickly became friends. Like all kids in a new house, Sofia too started wandering here and there. She started hearing some strange noise. She heard the voice of someone chanting, and the sound of a little kid crying from one room. When she tried to enter that room, the door of that room got closed all by itself. She got scared and she quickly ran back to her mom. Francisco's mom was an old-fashioned lady. Hence Francisco told Emma that since they were not officially married, they have to stay separately. Emma smiled a little, took Sofia to the other room, and later she came to Francisco's room and unpacked her belongings. She didn't heed her mother-in-law's advice. A typical modern progressing woman, I guess. After getting fresh, Emma was searching for Sofia. She entered the kitchen where she saw a black mold at the top of the corner. Later she heard the voice of Sofia on the terrace where a crow was dragging another dead crow. Later these guys saw Francisco's mom doing some sort of ritual on a kid. She was chanting something. Later Francisco official introduced Emma to his mom. Teresa had invited her neighbors, family friends for the lunch. These people were meeting Francisco after many years. They were all very happy. They congratulated Francisco for marriage. Before lunch, all these guys started to pray as these were deeply Orthodox people. Here Emma saw a mark on Sabrina's hand. After lunch, as Sofia was playing with it, Tito, the dog, quickly ran into the olive tree plantation as it heard something. The dog started barking in front of a tree. Sofia also arrived there. She also took a closer look at that tree, but there was nothing unusual. She saw a thread on the tree. In her curiosity she climbed and started to take it down. Just then Francisco arrived there and grabbed her from behind and took her down. He said, "Many of these trees are sick, my mom is trying to save them." Their many trees were uprooted. These were the gigantic trees that were centuries old. Some of them were even planted by the Romans. Teresa was an evil eye remover and a herbal practitioner who used to treat people with her knowledge. She was doing this for many years. Apparently, trees were also the victims of this black eye, hence needing a cure. At night Francisco was teaching piano to Sofia. Upon seeing what Teresa said, it seems there exists a great deep bond between them. Cryptically she also says that there can't be any bond that is stronger than the bond of a mother and her child. Late at night when Francisco and Emma got intimate, we saw a black shadow near their room. Emma also saw a glimpse of it. She got scared. In a hurry and panic, she checked everywhere. No one was there. Sofia was sleeping in her room. Late at night, Sofia woke up suddenly as she heard some noises. She checked below her bed, there was nobody. Then suddenly she screamed like hell. Emma and Francisco rushed to her room. Teresa and Sabrina also arrived. There lied a spider which bit her. These guys checked her. Francisco killed that spider. Teresa applied some herbal balm on that wound and said it will heal quickly. The next morning Teresa gave a small packet to Sofia and asked her to keep that at herself. The black mold similar to the one in the kitchen was now in Sofia's room. It was big. Sabrina and Teresa were doing some sort of ritual and herbal treatment on Sophia. They gave her something to drink. Emma saw this and she got scared. In a panic and anger, she talked rudely with Teresa. She told Teresa not to give anything to Sophia without asking her. Clearly, there was some sort of tension between future mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Emma took Sophia from there and complained to Francisco about her mom's weird behavior. Francisco tries to convince her by saying, "My mom is a herbal practitioner, her concoction is safe. I used to take them all the time." Sophia was playing with the dog Tito on the plantation. There in the bushes, she saw a lady in a white dress who was staring at her. She got scared and started running from there. She bumped into Emma. The packet falls from her pocket. Emma picked it up, and at night she again confronts Francisco about it. Emma felt odd about all these things, hence she decides to leave the house early in the morning. Before sleeping, Sophia starts to behave weirdly. She snatched her hair and tied a twig from that tree with it. This night Emma was sleeping with Sophia. Late at night, we see Sophia at the corner of the room. She was scratching her forearm while watching that black mold. She had a fever. Emma gets scared seeing this. She tried to calm her down, but Sophia suddenly screamed at her. Emma and Francisco took her to the doctor in the city, who after checking her said, "Don't worry. It's an infection, the immune system is doing its job." He gave them a few medicines to lower the fever and sent them home. At the house, Sabrina found that twig. She and Teresa broke it, and they started chanting on it. As soon as they broke it, Sophia's health got worse. Back at the house, Francisco and Teresa try to reason it out with Emma about Sophia's health. They said she is under a curse, someone has deliberately done that. Emma was fed up with this superstition nonsense. She right away decided to take her daughter away from here. But suddenly Sophia's room gets locked. She got trapped in there. All heard the voice of Sophia screaming. Lots of paranormal activity started. Sophia omitted a thread of twigs. Francisco breaks the door and barges in. The room was filled with twigs. The black mold in the room got brighter and bigger. Teresa says this is Ada's work. Now Francisco explains his backstory. When he was a teenager, he dated a girl named Ada. She used to work here. Francisco and Ada were in love. They were supposed to get married. Everything was going well, but suddenly Ada got sick. She had a miscarriage. She couldn't bear this grief and she left the house. An evil force bonded with her at that time. It seems she is the one who was trying to bond with Sophia. Sophia is a daughter-like figure to me. She considers me as her partner, and hence she is considering Sophia as her daughter. She always wanted a girl child. Francisco says we have to end this bond as quickly as possible, else the bond will become permanent. Emma heard all this patiently. She didn't say much. Quickly she locked Francisco and Teresa in a room, grabbed Sophia, and started to run away from this house in her car. As she was driving, she saw a white lady in front of her car. She thought this as a person. She turned the car, which led to an accident. Emma was knocked out. When she awakened, Sophia was missing. Francisco arrived here, and he started searching for Sophia in the woods. Emma was hurt in the accident, hence Teresa brought her back to the house. Here we get some more clarification. Teresa says Ada didn't lose her baby due to an illness. Francisco was not ready for a baby. He suggested abortion to Ada. But Ada was adamant she wanted to have that baby at any cost. Hence Francisco did a ritual to abort her baby. He was naive, foolish. He summoned an evil entity that possessed Ada. As a consequence, Ada lost her child and she became sick. I tried to save that baby, but the evil entity was powerful. Ada attacked Sabrina and ran. Meaning in the first scene the lady we saw was Ada. Teresa was doing the ritual. Now Francisco saw Ada near the tree. She took her inside one of many caves. There lied Sophia, her eye turned white. She was in a transition state. Ada says, "I always wanted this, you, me, and our little daughter." She now kissed Francisco, bit his lips, due to which he started bleeding. Ada bonded with Francisco as well as his eye turned white. At the house, Teresa collects a blood sample from that spider which bit Sophia. She made a drink out of it and gave it to Emma. As Emma drank it, she started seeing visions. Her soul got transferred to that cave. She observed everything and noted the location of that cave. There she saw Francisco as well, and she tried to wake him up. But Ada sensed her presence. She tried attacking her. Hence Emma came back to her sense in the house. Here bonding was a blood ritual that can be triggered only through blood. To make her bonding strong with Sophia, Ada started pouring her blood. Just then Francisco wakes up vomiting blood. He saw Ada and quickly jumped onto her. He strangled her. Later he tried to wake Sophia, but he was exhausted, hence once again he passed out. Later Emma and Teresa arrived at this cave. They found Sophia, but Francisco was missing. Now all are back at the house. Teresa started the reunification ritual by cleaning Sophia's blood with herbal medicines. She was re-establishing the blood bond between Sophia and Emma, as the bond between a mother and her daughter is always strong. Once it gets established, then Ada can't do much. She takes out a blood sample from Sophia's body and showed her face in the mirror. She started chanting, but this time as last time, the mirror cracked. All glass windows in the room exploded. Implying Ada knew what Teresa was doing. She was near. Sabrina ran to close the main door, but it was too late. Ada killed her. Now Emma in hurry tried to mix her blood with Sophia's, but she too gets possessed. Ada makes her stab herself with the scissor. Emma starts bleeding as she fell. Teresa was crying seeing all this. Later an invisible force started strangling her. As Emma was bleeding, her blood flew and joined Sophia's blood. The bond was finally established. A few minutes later Ada arrived there. With her arrival, Sophia came to her senses as the bond was complete. She in panic and fear tried to wake her mom, but Emma was still unconscious. Ada once again attacked Sophia and again she was trying to establish that bond. As she was doing this, Emma woke up. She quickly grabbed the scissor. With all her force she attacked Ada from behind and killed her for good. Later we see Teresa waking up. She survived. Emma hugged her while crying. The next day was normal. Sophia was playing the piano. It seemed Emma and Sophia decided to stay here for good. Sophia again felt a pain near her shoulder as we see Francisco gasping for air. He was bonded with that evil force. With this, the film ends. So this was the story of the film The Bonding. Here an evil force has possessed Ada. This force can bond with anyone. Here Ada was not a ghost, but a human possessed by that force. In the end when she dies, that force attached itself to Francisco completely. Ada did the bonding with him. Let's talk about this evil force. It's based on an old Italian superstition belief called the evil eye. Generally, happy people get curses from others who can't digest their happiness. Lots of medical conditions, misfortune was attributed to this belief. In the olden days, people used to wear a talisman for this. Sometimes they used to keep some evil eye evading objects with them. That's why Teresa gave that amulet to Sophia. In this film, the writer has exaggerated this phenomenon. Talking about the sickness of olive trees. It's a real issue. In the last 6 years, millions of olive trees came under the attack of bacteria called Xylella fastidiosa. Scientists were not able to find a cure for it. Many olive plantations in Italy are perishing due to this. Hope you enjoyed this recap. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Take care.